Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us late tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Jay Cohn in for Russ Riesinger tonight. The future of the Colstrip power plants taking front and center in Helena today.
Montana lawmakers considering a bill to potentially save the eastern Montana power plants as a House hearing attracts a standing room only crowd.
That bill designed to help Northwestern Energy buy a bigger share of the Colstrip 4 power plant and extend its life had its first hearing today before the Montana House.
And like previous hearings on the bill, plenty of people speaking out both for and against it. Northwestern Energy says it's negotiating with one of the plant's co-owners to buy another 20% share for only $1. However, Northwestern wants to ensure that its future capital costs at the plant can be charged to its Montana electric ratepayers. Senate Bill 331 says up to $75 million of those costs over 10 years can be charged to ratepayers with no review by the Public Service Commission.
Now, the company, organized labor, business lobbies, and others spoke in support of the bill today, saying it would provide low-cost power for ratepayers and help Northwestern seal the deal quickly. Opponents, though, including Public Service Commissioner Roger Koopman of Bozeman, said the bill is not needed and the company is only trying to shift all the risk to its ratepayers.
In my opinion, is the Northwestern Energy School of Economics. Maximize your profits by socializing your risk. And while you're at it, turn the PSC into the regulatory dog wagged by the utility tail.
Montana has made the mistake of continuously putting itself at the mercy of out-of-state entities that have little or no stake in this state. It's time that we learn from them mistakes and take steps to put more power over our energy future back into the hands of Montanans. And this will do it.
The House Energy Committee plans to vote on the bill coming up on Wednesday. That bill passed the state Senate last week.
One person is dead near the Wyoming border after a rollover crash this afternoon on Highway 310.
The Montana Highway Patrol was alerted to that accident around 4:30 this afternoon. Trooper Brody Shields says the accident took the life of the single occupant of a pickup truck.
It's unclear what caused the accident and if any other vehicles were involved. The investigation is ongoing.
We have new details tonight surrounding a Park County Sheriff's deputy who was injured in a head-on crash last Friday.
We're told Brian Elliott Pearson is in good spirits, says he's recovering at Billings Clinic. Now, he completed his third surgery this morning. The crash happened Friday on Highway 89 near Livingston.
Authorities say 53-year-old Sean Schmitz of Columbus died in that crash after his car drifted into Pearson's lane.
Pearson says he's thankful to the community for support while he recovers.
A fire in Lame Deer Sunday spread to nearly 1,800 acres in size and threatened homes and structures before it was finally contained last night. Today, authorities have pinpointed the cause of the blaze. Northern Cheyenne Fire Management Officer Adam Wolf tells us a wood stove sparked that fire, while the homeowner, Kenneth Birdchief, barely was able to escape through a window. That fast-moving fire forced the temporary closure of U.S. Highway 212 and Montana Highway 39. Two health facilities in Lame Deer were ordered to evacuate due to smoke concerns, but crews were able to contain the flames before residents along Highway 839 were forced to leave. Now, Wolf says it took an entire community effort to save the only store in Lame Deer. He says fire crews worked tirelessly all day long without even having time to stop to eat.
The 24-year-old man shot and killed at a bar in Billings South Side this weekend is now identified as Shane Nespers. Yellowstone County Deputy Coroner Richard Hoffman tells us Nespers died from multiple gunshot wounds. The shooting happened at Lee's Saloon at 530 South 27th Street a little before 2 a.m. Saturday. A 28-year-old Billings man was also taken to the hospital with injuries. Another 24-year-old man also had injuries but was not treated at the hospital. No suspects are in custody. Police are investigating the incident as a homicide.
A 17-year-old is lucky to be alive after being attacked by a grizzly bear Sunday near Ennis, Montana. The teen was hiking south of Ennis near Wolf Creek when he says he heard a thump behind him. When he turned around, a bear was charging at him. Although he was carrying bear spray, the man says he couldn't use it before the bear was right on top of him. At one point, the bear let go. The teen tried to escape but was knocked again to the ground, face down and pinned again. But this time he was able to reach over his shoulder and spray the bear. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks officials say that bear spray is likely the reason the teen was able to escape the attack with just minor injuries. Bear sightings becoming more and more common as the spring weather warms up FWP warns that surprise encounters like this could become more common as the bears begin their search for food after their winter hibernation.
A Holocaust survivor shared her story tonight at the Billings West High Auditorium. Now, following World War II, Agnes Schwartz, a Hungarian Jew, immigrated to the U.S.
How she got to America, though, is a story of great tragedy and sacrifice. Q2's Mitch Laggy attended Agnes's speech tonight and is here to share more with us. Mitch?
The year was 1933. That year, Agnes Schwartz was born in Budapest, Hungary. At the same time, Adolf Hitler started his rise to power, becoming the Chancellor of Germany. As a child, Agnes was raised under the constant threat of Nazi rule. After her mother had died at a Nazi concentration camp and her father was still at an unknown work camp, her Catholic nanny Julia took Agnes in and sheltered her in the basement of her apartment as the Allies were bombing Budapest. After the war, she was eventually reunited with her father and they immigrated to the U.S. Agnes travels the country sharing her message about the Holocaust, which is never again.
That's what I'm hoping to do by telling young people, especially the young people, my life story, so that they'll take at least a couple sentences home with them and tell somebody that today they met a Holocaust survivor, and yes, it did happen. Don't ever let anybody tell you that it never happened. And unfortunately, my generation is dying out, and within the next few years, there won't be any live speakers anymore.
And as you can see there, at 88 years young, Miss Schwartz is still sharp as a tack. She also told me that she is one of the greatest American patriots there is, and she encouraged young people to register to vote. If you'd like to learn more of Agnes's story, search for her memoir titled A Roll of the Dice. Jay and Jeanelle?
Much, Mitch.
On to the weather scene tonight. Bob, a quick reminder of what season is it, because there are winter storm warnings.
Yeah, you really want to talk to me, I think? Yeah, I'm not so sure. Yeah, we're going to start off with rain, but let me show you. This is what's happening tonight on our high-resolution forecast. You'll see the scattered rain showers moving across southern Montana. Here in Billings, we're still getting a little light rain. We'll be in and out of these rain showers off and on throughout much of the day on Tuesday, and you'll notice some of the snow starts making its way in towards the mountains. That low pressure cell is going to start dropping to the south. As it does so, it's going to start taking some cooler air from Canada and drawing it into that low, and so while we have all this moisture in place, watch what happens late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. All that rain starts turning to snowfall. The snow stays with us through most of the morning on Wednesday, and then that low pressure cell moves into the central plains and starts pulling the snow away from us and in towards it. So here's how much snow it looks like we are going to get. Here in the Billings area, maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow, because I think what's going to happen, you'll get some rain. It won't be a lot of snow, but you'll get a little rain and snow mixed. Down in Sheridan, if it comes all down as snow, it could be 14 to 20 inches, but realistically, I think maybe 6 to 8 inches of snow might be possible in that area. So we'll have to wait and see, but it looks like we're at least going to get some measurable snow out of this. I wouldn't shovel it, just let it melt, because it's going to be that real sloppy, heavy stuff. Let's go back to Jay and Jeanelle.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, a sold-out crowd in Bozeman tonight as former U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions spoke to students and supporters at Montana State in Bozeman. He talked about freedom of speech and conservative ideas that he used during his decades in national politics, including his work with President Trump. He also brought up his support and the need for public support for our first responders, referencing Montana Trooper Wade Palmer, who was shot and severely injured in March. Now, a key topic of Sessions, freedom and the First Amendment. He also cited his upbringing in Alabama to reflect on a person's ability to find success anywhere.
I believe integrity, hard work, teamwork, the ability to show a certain amount of humility, to have lived with people of all different backgrounds, gives you some advantages that others don't have.
Sessions also visited Bozeman last June when he was still the acting U.S. Attorney General.
A Montana Republican is defending former Vice President Joe Biden, a 2020 presidential frontrunner, as he now faces accusations of inappropriate touching.
Jeannie Etchart wrote an opinion piece on the issue and was published in Medium.com. Etchart says her father was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer, the same as Biden's son, Beau. Now, Etchart was able to meet Biden during an event in Helena.
She says they shared a long, big hug and that Biden was genuine and uplifting.
There's, of course, the big issue of consent, and it's, of course, appropriate to ask for that and to kind of make yourself aware of that. But at least in my one situation, it was welcome, a hug, when I needed one. I never for a minute felt uncomfortable or that he was creepy. I think he would have hugged a young man in the same situation.
Jeannie says she has worked for Republicans throughout her political career, Republicans including George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and Sarah Palin.
Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, more shakeups at the White House as another member of President Trump's cabinet steps down.
Plus, this school fundraiser isn't kidding about its mission for an all-inclusive playground. We'll check it out in a moment.
And later in sports, a victory for Montana's tribal nations with the Montana High School Association today. We'll have details coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.